Hi, it's me again. Really quick update before I start the D&D video. This is episode 7 of the D&D video, but tomorrow at 8 o'clock, it's currently 8:15 p.m. Tomorrow at 8 o'clock a.m., I gotta go to school orientation, so hopefully I'll still put these out, but I'm not even putting them out this often currently. I'm just kind of like, hey, I've got some time, I'll make a D&D video. Why not? So, I've also noticed I say a lot on camera. Anywho, we left off, I did it again, we left off last time after we had killed Hoyt, yeah, we killed Hoyt, and after that, we headed over to the library. Okay, let's get right into this. So, the party is still currently the Hunter Ranger, me, the Elven Hunter Ranger, the Tiefling Wizard, played by Jacob, and the Halfling Rogue, played by Steven. And, yeah, so, we, immediately after we killed Hoyt, we climbed up onto the top of a roof, thanks to me and Steven using our acrobatic skill to kind of help up Jacob. In 4th edition, not sure if it's in 5th edition, still have never played anything but 4th edition. Sorry. So, in 4th edition, there's the ability that if you do a skill check, you can do it for your entire party, but that means that either your entire party succeeds or your entire party fails. I think you might get a small penalty to this, but Andy has never directly told us that. I'm going to also put this upwards, so I have the backing. This looks much better, feels much better. But I feel like I'm not close enough. I feel like I'm too far. Yeah, so we climbed up onto the top of the roof, and we took a 8-hour rest, or 6-hour rest. I need to remember that I have trance because I'm an elf. It's, instead of having to take a 6-hour rest, I take a 4-hour rest, and I'm fully alert the entire time. Like, I'm just kind of sitting there, just meditating. I think it's called trance, but it's essentially meditation for 8 hours. And, we immediately, after our rest, Andy, our GM, described it as the sense of we were feeling watched, and we looked around and we didn't see anything, but we heard something. Now keep in mind, we're, I think we're still closer to the slums, but even in the best parts of Garsbad, it's still really broken down, because, you know, it's a city that's been in disrepair for 80 such years. So we felt that we were being watched, and this building's only like 15 feet tall. It's really not that big. So we're like, what's that? And off to our right, I believe it was our right, we heard really like phlegmy breathing. And we're like, oh god. And it wasn't an ogre, thankfully, it was an orc. Just a regular, very large orc. He was like 8.5 feet tall. And apparently, he was like reaching full scale, trying to like claw at the top of the building, because he thought he had heard something. So he's and he gets a hold. And in that moment, we can hear him just kind of like scurrying up, and we're like, quick, escape! And I'm going to pause because I'm thirsty. Water, Earth's favorite refreshment. So while he was distracted, we stealthed it away, and because he couldn't immediately see us, we didn't take any disadvantage or anything. So we roll, and I think it was Steven's turn to roll, because we each have equal stealth. We take turns rolling for stealth. So he rolls. Bam, I think it was like a 17. It was pretty solid. I have the character sheet right here. I can check the stealth bonus. So hopefully I don't become too quiet while I'm over here. That's my bard. his character sheet. We both have 10 to stealth. Yeah, he leaves his character sheet here because this is where we play our D&D. So, sorry if you hear that. Like I said, it's 8 o'clock, so my mother and her boyfriend are still, or fiance, are still awake. Typically I do this when no one's home, but yeah. So, we stealthed away, and we were like, okay, where do we go next? And I pull out my map, and it was pretty nifty. We decided, okay, library. Why not? It seems like the next most likely place. So we go to the library. And we head over, and inside we see some goblins. It's like there's 2 layers. Like, there's a lower layer, not average room size, and then there's a staircase, and not quite a second floor, but a balcony that overlooks the first floor. So this balcony is like 15 feet outwards, and the room's only like 30-40 feet total. So it's a pretty big balcony. So there's a two tile staircase to the left that leads up the balcony, and immediately we're like, okay, let's see what's in here. So I peek around a corner stealthily. I kind of like look around, make sure that I listen for the footsteps, make sure that no one's nearby, and I just kind of peek outwards, and we see like 5 or 6 goblins on the lower floor, and then we see a big, he's wearing like robes, and they're slightly glowing. So we knew that they were magical robes, and they were upstairs reading a book, and we're like, he's going to be the boss dude. He's definitely going to be the boss dude. No, I think it was 4 goblins on the lower floor. So we were like, okay, I'm going to go to the left, take out the furthest one on the left. My dog is going to come by, take out the closest one on the right. Steven, or this closest one on the left. Steven, you go after the one on the furthest right, and then Jacob, roll stealth, and you go after the one on the closest right. And we're like, okay, sounds like a plan. With the order of initiative, we actually did have to roll initiative for this, but this was considered our surprise round, because yeah, I don't know why we had to roll initiative personally, but I roll like a 19, and it was Steven, then Jacob, then Wolf. So I go first, and I'm not seen. I'm hidden, no one immediately shouts me out or anything, so I'm pretty sure I'm good. And I'm lined up with my dude. I pull out my short sword, and I pull out my Triflix blade, which is a dagger, and I prepare to slice his throat. And then Steven rolls really high, I think it was like a 15. He goes into position. Then Jacob rolls a nat 20. I remember this being a nat 20, because everyone was like, we are the shadow. And my wolf rolls like a 7. And I don't know my wolf stat block. That's all up to Andy, because he's the DM. I don't know my wolf stat block. So, the way that we describe it is, we all head over, we're all in position, and my wolf, he bumps the table and a vial breaks on him, and he kind of he lets out a loud whimper. So, the 3 of us, as our ready to action, we just slice all of our targets' throats, and I think I gave Jacob I think Steven gave him one of his daggers, because Steven has like 6 daggers. And the way that we do it is, if you're proficient with a weapon, you use it as normal, and if you're non-proficient, then you just take a penalty to the weapon. I don't like the idea of being proficient with something and then getting a bonus and then being able to use everything, because that means like a wizard could use a war axe and not have penalty. I feel like you should have penalty. Anywho, we take them out, and then we hear the 4th one, and we all gang up on him immediately. Like all 3 of us and then my dog, we all gang up on him. And we take him out. He's dead as fuck. And by this time, dude upstairs is just now reacting. So what he does is, oh god, and he rips out a piece of paper from his book. He folds it up, does something, it glows for a second. He throws it into the middle of the battlefield between all 4 of us, and we're like, oh shit. and it doesn't do anything. So we're like, is it a dud? Did he not roll high? So we immediately start going upstairs, and then it turns into a slime as soon as the first one of us moves. And we're like, oh god, no. And then immediately again, even though it was my turn at the time, he throws out another one onto the staircase, and I'm like, oh no. And now, they're not your typical slimes. They didn't, like, when they got to half health, they didn't break in half. They didn't do that. They just kind of were slimes. So, we didn't end up killing them. We took a few rounds of combat trying to kill them, but then they just kind of like ate our arrows. They didn't look like they were taking any damage, so we're like, oh. And this is my idea of the day. This is where I had this is where I felt really good about myself. I say, okay, I'm going to roll acrobatics to climb up the wall onto the balcony. And he's like, great idea. It's only like 7 or 8 feet off the ground. So we scale it, and then Steven's like, I'm going to do the same. And I think that's a great idea. I'm going to copy him. And Lucifer goes, okay, I'm going to do the same. Steven gives up. Lucifer falls. The slimes have tremor sense. They come after him. They start coming after him. And at this point, I command my dog in Elven because my dog understands Elven. He understands Common too, but I taught him Elven. Just thought it would be nifty. So in Elven, I tell him to start pounding his feet as loud as he can, or pounding his paws or whatever. And he does. He just on the ground, and it draws the tremor senses to him, because at this point, Jacob's not making any more tremor, and this fucking dog halfway across the battlefield is making the most. So they start coming towards him. They're just oozing forward. And Jacob's like, okay, let's do this again. Falls on his butt again. They both start coming at him again. They only have like a speed of 5, I think. Most average creatures have a speed of 6. I have a speed of 7 because elves are fast. They're spooky. And third time's the charm. He climbs up and he does it. And we're all up there. And my dog is just kind of sitting in the corner because he was hurt at this point by one of the slimes. He was pretty messed up. And we get up there with him, and I double move on one of my turns. I shift out of his line, or out of his what's it called, attack of opportunity area, and then I move again behind him. So now we have Jacob right up in his face, Steven on his right side, and I'm behind him on his left. And we just start letting loose abilities. Like, at this point, Jacob had thunder waved him into a wall, and I had put an arrow through his shoulders and stuff, and Steven pulled out his crossbow, and he was just bang right into his kneecap or something. And we eventually do kill him, and on his person, we find, I think it was a Staff of Thunderbolts on him. I forget if we get that later. But we found a Staff of Thunderbolts on him, which makes all attacks with the name Thunder or Lightning in their ability do extra damage. So we're like, Jacob, that's you. Now. And we're like, do we find anything else? And he's like, yeah, you also find a robe of acid resist. And we're like, Jacob, that's you. You wear robes. You can only wear robes. Do it. So, he's like, I put it on. And then Andy's like, it's too small for you. Now, I had talked to Andy post the fact, and we were like, what is he supposed to do with that? And he's like, well, if you found a way to, if you were able to identify it properly enough to find a way to cut it, you could use that as a cape. Andy wanted him to wear it as a cape. The Cape of Acid Resist. I think it's actually pretty good, though. It's like 5 acid resist or something. It's pretty spicy. Spicy, I mean. So, yeah, that was pretty good. I mumbled a lot in this video, but I feel like I also got better detail. I've looked through, and I haven't been giving all that good detail. So, this is going to be it for episode 7, and yeah. Be prepared for extra D&D of a different series very soon. Bye-bye!